Hello, so you are here because you want to learn how to transfer an image from an outline or even a photo to your special watercolour paper without having to redraw the whole thing. So the way we do that is, the easiest way is to use graphite paper, which means that we put our watercolour paper down, put our black magic paper down, or graphite paper officially, and black shiner tide down and put our picture over the top and trace it. Now, that is the easiest way. The next easiest way is, if you don't have graphite paper, is to get your outline or your picture that you're tracing, and what you're going to do is you're going to create you're going to shade over the back of the piece of paper, just with your lead pencil, making sure that you're not, making sure that you're covering over the whole place that you need to trace the outline. Just checking that, just lifting it up, seeing where I need to go. You could easily just shade over the whole piece of paper, that would work as well. Shading everywhere, colouring it in basically. Shade, shade, shade. You don't need any special type of pencil to do this. It's just whatever you've got around the place. Hoping that I'm covering that. And I'm just checking if I can see through against the light to see where I've put that shading, and I am getting that in the right spot. Okay, so I've shaded that. If I flip it over, that's where all my lines are, all in those spaces. And so what I can do is I get my art paper, put my picture over the top where I want it to go. And in this case, I actually don't want my unicorn all the way up in the top corner. I want to move it down, I think about there is where I want to put it. I'm just going to sticky tape it down so that it doesn't move. And with my pencil or with a pen, it actually doesn't matter, I'm going to go back over and trace the outline. And when I do that, I will end up with, notice I'm not super fussed about my outline because it all ends up working out in the end. And, you know, in this case, unicorns, we can give them a little bit of grace to be a little bit different from each other. So if I don't trace it exactly, well, it doesn't really matter because, you know, they're all a bit different, aren't they? If you're using one of the outlines I've provided, these little diagonal lines here just represent an area that's usually painted black. So you can put the diagonal lines there if you want, or you can just try and remember. Now, I'm going to pop that line down there and that line there. And then we will have a very light outline. And what you might need to do, and I've just realized I've forgotten the eye altogether, what you might need to do is you might need to use your eyes carefully to go back over the top of that outline. So I'm not sure how well you can see that. There is an outline there. It's just really quite light. So you might need to then go back over the top of that outline just to make it so that you can see it a little bit more easily. Okay, now of course this might work better if, so I've got a HB pencil at the moment, and if I were to do the shading on the back here, if you have it available, you might like to use something like a higher B. So what I mean by that is like an HB pencil would be ideal. I have all the different types of pencils here that I'm looking at. I'm just trying to see if I've got one that's a bit higher. I have this lovely graphite pencil which will make this, no, that's only a 2B anyways. So this is a 5B, I'm going to try with that instead. Okay, see how it automatically just goes on a lot darker, first of all. Nothing fancy about the way we're doing this. Really dark. It's a darker pencil to begin with. Will of course make that process a little bit easier. A little bit of my lead just came off, so I'm just, in an effort not to be wasteful, I was just using that. But I have heard I can be a little bit over the top with how much I care about waste. Excuse my dressing gown that you might have just seen there in the video. It's very cold in my studio today. So if I stick that back down on just a fresh piece of paper, I can have another go at that tracing, and just to show you that it is in fact a bit darker. Beauty of doing it this way instead of using the magic black paper is that it is lighter, because sometimes the magic black paper you can actually see that the outline is quite dark, which you might not want. And if it does happen to go on too dark when you trace back over it, you actually have the option of rubbing it out, because it is on there with lead pencil. Whereas with the graphite paper, it's a bit harder, and that's a bit better, a bit darker. Still probably wouldn't mind going over that with my pencil, just to make those outlines a little bit more visible. But that's totally up to you as the artist if you want to do that or not. And so that's how we do our transfer of our picture if you don't have graphite paper available. Ta-da! And then I can just paint that.